So what was your first reaction watching this tape after 22 years?
I mainly remember being, feeling like, feeling horrible that day. Waking up and it was still like drunk from the night before. And it's like, oh no.
So you'd all had a bit of German hospitality the night
Yes.
before the show happened?
Yes.
4 Oompa bands going on simultaneously in 4 corners of this aircraft hangar-sized
Huge tent.
tent, right? Beer hall.
That's right.
They sent over drinks to our table by the dozens. They'd send
Trays
over
of
a tray
the apple
with like
schnapps.
25 schnapps on it, and everybody'd be like, okay.
We weren't
you
allowed
know.
to drink less
We were
than
supposed to
3.
drink them while they were watching us or something, the people that sent it over. So we had to drink them. We had no choice.
Well, it was like that the whole first European tour, because they didn't really know who the Cars were, and, their first record was just out there. And,
Oh, it wasn't like Best Friend's Girl wasn't a hit yet in England or any of that stuff? Picture discs and all that stuff that we had?
No, in England they knew
It
who
was a
we
hit
were.
in England.
But I think in the other countries,
But we got a bad rap in
really
England
do.
because of our picture disc.
Picture disc.
yeah.
Yeah, because we put out a picture disc, and they thought that was like too
They
American.
thought we fiddled the chart.
Plus, Elektra was caught, like, stalking the stores that report to the trade magazines to try to elevate the numbers,
we were fiddling
which
the
they do
charts.
with every record at the time, but unhappily, they just happened to get caught doing it on our record. We didn't know it,
Yeah, we just
And
went there,
everyone
and then all of a sudden we were bad
yeah, they hated us before we even got there.
in England. I think that was mostly because I think our management really didn't book us in Europe because we were too busy in the United States.
Do you remember?
I don't think we ever, decided we didn't want to go to Europe.
Yeah,
We always just said, we never have time. Because we did manage to get to Japan and, places,
We would like to have
other
gone.
places, but we just
back.
never,
We went back for promotional purposes, but not to play a concert. Remember when we did?
yeah, and they didn't like that.
And I remember you had a whole book of lyrics stolen outside Dingwalls. We went to a club one night to see a band, and out of the back of a limo or whatever, you had a lyric book stolen.
My bag was stolen.
Your whole bag, shoulder bag.
There was 1,000 songs in there, and they're all gone. No, actually, I don't even remember what lyrics were in there, but
Did they recover
I
something?
think they got the bag, but
Oh, but nothing else.
somebody stupidly kept the lyrics.
And they also put it in Melody Maker and stuff, and then made fun of it. I won't even mention. Remember what they said about it? They said something like, "Who would want to steal these lyrics from this band?" or something like that. 'Cause
Paul Weller reviewed our single.
They didn't like us.
He was in the Jam at the time, and he said you can melt it and make an ashtray out of it. That was his review.
They accused us of being like a stadium band or something.
They were real suspicious of us.
Yeah.
And we.
They didn't like the American New Wave band coming there and upsetting the Sex Pistols.
We played like a student union at like Oxford University or somewhere, and these little kids were like giving us the finger and like, like we weren't cool enough for them or something, and it was just weird. David wasn't usually green when we played.
Yeah. Or not that green.
Yeah, David was pretty sick. Because
thought we
actually,
just played
he was laying on the table before we went out and played the gig. We were just wondering.
I was passed out in
Put you on a
the
gurney,
car.
didn't
Huh?
They put you on a gurney, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a cot. They put me in a car and drove me to where the music loud thing was, and then woke me up and said, "Okay, it's time to go on." And I was like, "Okay, okay." And I went out there and I played the show in a complete daze, and then went back to this cot, and then they woke me up and put me in the car and took me away. And I didn't remember anything about being there at all, except that I was blue, green.
Same thing with me. First time we went to England to make the record, I got real sick.
It's like food
Like
poisoning.
Food poisoning and
Management wasn't
dysentery or something.
Yeah, I think when we started the tour, we were doing bars and things, and then at the end of the tour, we were probably almost headlining, or were we headlining?
Some and some opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tour was 9 months or 10 months.
Yeah.
When the tour got bigger, the gigs got bigger.
We kept asking our manager if we made it yet, but we never got an answer. So I don't know if we have yet.
Yeah, I don't think we have. Because we never heard.
We're not sure if we made it.
We were just touring a lot, after that first album, and it was kind of, the record actually took off kind of slow. which was kind of nice, but it was added, radio stations like sporadically. It wasn't like everybody played the single, and then it was mayhem. It was kind of like Texas played the single, and then a couple months later, Chicago jumped on it, and then so in the first part of it, it was kind of like took about a year, and I think the more it got popular, like the touring, people were saying we were opening for people, and then it sort of started to change, and then people were opening for us, and we just kind of I think we decided then we were also going to try to have local bands open for us.
Of course, it would depend on, most artists would be having an album that they were promoting, so, there'd be a certain bunch of groups that were available to do a tour, but we'd have a pick among them.
And in some states, we would just use the bands from the city if we could find out who they were.
Yeah. Who were some of the people that you had?
As opening acts? Nick Lowe and Paul Carrick,
The Motels.
Bram Tchaikovsky.
Wang Chung.
Nick Gilda.
Oh, right.
Nick Gilda.
And also, on sections of tours, somebody would come for like 5 gigs or something. XTC opened
XTC
for
was
us.
for a couple of weeks, or
Mm-hmm.
and Suicide on a couple of different occasions.
Yeah, Suicide.
There was that week at the Paradise.
And 4 nights at the Universal Amphitheater. That's the one I'll never forget, man.
No, that was cool.
They were throwing stuff, and he's going, you suck just like your Dodgers. And they were just getting even madder and throwing ashtrays and full cups of beer at him and lit cigarettes.
So wasn't that the gig where they came off stage saying, "Yeah, we killed them, we did great"? Because they had played longer than they'd ever played with us at that gig. That was the thing. They played for 20 minutes, I think.
More of their set than they ever
Yeah.
had to play.
They said, the audience loved us. We had them in the palm of our hand.
Craig, do you remember when they played the Paradise? You and me would climb up every night up into the rafters and watch the show and watch the whole audience, because it was always a spectacle. Like, you didn't know what was going to happen, if the guy was going to get beat up, or how long it was going to...
Speaking of footage
You didn't
and
wanna
stuff, do
miss
you have
it.
that footage of Suicide playing in complete darkness except for like a spot on Alan's face, and all of a sudden drinks come into the light, and fists and bottles and stuff come in and he bounce off his face?
Yeah, and he's got the big red mark on his face from smacking himself with the mic.
So let's go back in the history. You've all been in different bands before this. I mean, Modern Lovers, Milkwood, Martin Mull. Then you'd been on TV. I mean, did this all give you ideas about what you did and didn't want to do on stage by the time you got to the Cars?
I suppose so, because everything before it was all a learning experience. So, you get your act together over the years, and we pretty much knew what we were going to be. We had discussions from time to time.
Yeah. Plus, a lot of us were in bands before, in the same band before the Cars, really. Because
That's right. Well, I was in Richard and the Rabbits with Rick and Ben, the year before Captain Swing.
That's where I heard you guys, was Richard and the Rabbits.
Richard and the Rabbits. Yeah.
3 had that.
Boy, we had some brilliant names for bands.
Richard and the Rabbits was before Okasik and Orr.
I remember that.
A couple of gigs. Yeah.
That record company.
That was
name were Fall
Okasik
Cat.
and Orr at the Idler and stuff was after Richard and the Rabbits, though, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I think
It was probably
after.
before and after.
Well, I know that I went with a friend who was answered an